are going to be getting into it. Starting up in the top right for Platinum Esports with a 12 pool, starting things off fiery. It is Aristori. That's a good map for it. It's a short map.
Yeah, the rush distance here indeed is very, very quick. His opponent, though, in the top left-hand corner, one of the greatest players in the game. It's Reynor. So, Reynor recently announced that he is going to be making... Well, I was going to say make a move, but he is spending a little while, at the very least, over in South Korea, which is, of course, a great place if you enjoy StarCraft 2. But if you're playing in European tournaments like this one, ping is a very significant factor. So everything Reynor's going to do is going to be quite substantially delayed, and in a fast-paced matchup like Zerg versus Zerg, this can really backfire super quickly.
But speaking of backfiring, when you open up with a cheeky 12 pool and your opponent opens up with a pool first, that is not a good feeling whatsoever. We are going to see Aristori behind this. He takes a gas, and I'm almost certain this is going to be a Speedling flood behind all this.
Yeah.
But Reynor is, I mean, he is so well set up. Going 16 pool or 17 pool against a 12 pool, it is the dream scenario. It really doesn't get better than that. Yep.
As far as rock, paper, scissors go, this is about as good as Reynor could have opened up. He sees right now, decides to pull a couple drones, which is kind of cute. Apparently, he feels like he needs them. I mean, additional links will be popping out in just a moment. And, well, so far, Reynor already with a 5-worker lead, which normally wouldn't be significant, but if you only have 12 drones, the percentage here is absolutely massively in favor of Reynor. There's link speed, by the way, on the back of this. Aristori is not droning at all.
No, he is doing a Speedling all-in with this. This is meant to be I'm 12 pooling you, haha, no, you know, we're chilling. But obviously, this is going to be a full send behind this. Reynor might not realize what is going on. He's going to try and slip this Ling across the map. He's got 2 scouting Lings actually heading out, and you can see Aristori is desperate to deny this scout from coming on in, because if Reynor figures it out, he will either A, wall the front, or B, just build like 2 spines and some extra queens and be totally fine.
Yeah, so Aristori is basically just making non-stop Zerglings here, and he will send them all across the map. Now, this Ling wants to scout out exactly what's happening. Aristori is making this look like a 12 pool into a 17 hatch. Okay, getting a glimpse of this is absolutely massive, and this is all he needs. Link speed is still about 10-15 seconds away from finishing, so this is going to give Reynor a little bit of a heads up. He wants to stay on that natural. He could even give up the natural. I wonder if he even really needs to be here, but I feel like he's not even really that many units.
You gotta save the natural. I don't think you can give up the natural and be comfy about it. There is a lot of Lings here, but with 3 queens adding DPS and minimal surface area on them, this is not so bad. Is there enough energy for a transfuse?
He doesn't need it.
I didn't even need it. Yeah, never mind. Not even close.
Spinecrawler is going to finish up as well. There are the transfusions, though. Reynor now doubling his opponent's worker count, and, well, he's going to be returning to favor here in a minute or so when he finishes up his own link speed. Baneling Nest on the back of this, too. Aristori really doesn't have a choice other than just, double down.
Commit, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to continue committing here. Reynor makes another worker. I really don't think he needs he needs the drone here. Just send it here when link speed finishes up, but he's crossing his T's, dotting his I's, trying to be as safe as he possibly can be. Taking a page out of Showtime's book from earlier.
Yeah, and obviously you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble, but he's getting this wall set up at the natural, and that is, even without the Baneling Nest being done, that would stop this. But with the Baneling Nest completing, he's going to be able to morph in Banelings. There we go. 3 Banelings behind this. Hold position on the Lings. Obviously, it's a good concave for Aristori right there. And that might allow him to break in here initially. But he's never in a million years going to win from this position. And there's the GG getting called. Reynor, excellent defense. He puts himself up 1-0.
Yeah, making it look very easy here. So Aristori never really made any drones in this game, right? He literally just held down the Zergling key for, well, as long as possible. I think he made like 3 drones at the very beginning of the game just to get it all going, but that was really about it. Just to end back up to 12 with these couple of structures that he built since he made a hatchery, a gas geyser, and a spawning pool. Those are the only things he built, and he made 3 drones to make up for it. I mean, cleanly handled right there. Ping or no ping. Reynor looking very strong there.
Yeah, he looked... I mean, it helps when you get the build order counter, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. It does make it a bit easier.
Yeah, but still, he did everything right. He pulled those drones at the natural to make sure that there was no... Because he knows he's playing with ping. And Aristori knows that Reynor's playing with ping too. That's obviously that's not hidden information. They both know that. So it makes sense for Aristori to go for something like this, but it makes sense for Reynor to over defend just a little bit and be like, okay, I can still beat you with faster speed or, you know, better decision making or better macro. Like Reynor is going to be comfortable, generally speaking, in the macro game. And of course, he knows that it's a 12 pool. So it's like, okay, why would I go crazy on cutting every possible corner for a defense where I know I've got like such an advantage?
Well, absolutely. It was a cool attempt right there by Aristori, because when you think about it, right, if you are the underdog and you are playing ZVZ against somebody with ping, what exactly do you do? And I feel like the build order of choice here from Aristori was very good. But it is one of those build orders that is a bit of a coin flip, because it gets countered pretty easily by any sort of pool first build. The only problem is that at the highest level, 9 times out of 10, it is a hatchery first. And Reynor obviously knows he's the favorite going into this. So he decided, yo, what is my opponent likely to do? And he decided to play it very safe from there. Opened up with the pool first. Probably wouldn't do that against somebody like, for example, Cero or, for example, Lambo or Laser. But apparently against Aristori, he felt like it was the right call. And, well, sometimes your rock, paper, scissors works out perfectly for you.
Sometimes it does, as we have spawning up at the top left for Basilisk. Up 1-0. He's Reynor.
And his opponent, already making more drones than he did in the first game of this series. It's Aristori.
That is a funny little phenomena, isn't it? That's actually that's a real good point. But yeah, he's within less than 1 minute into the game, he has a higher drone count than he ever touched in that previous game. That's fun. It's gonna be a gas pool opener here.
Go like, yeah, very quick gas pool here for Reynor. So Aristori is just gonna go hatch gas pool. I was thinking maybe he's gonna go to the full opposite end of the, you know, cheese spectrum and focus on just making mass economy here. But no, Reynor, once again, this could be just a safe opener once more, right? Like, he doesn't have to get aggressive with this. Just get link speed going, maybe get a safety bailing nest, test the waters a little bit with some units, but he doesn't have to like commit to an all-in off of this.
No, he certainly doesn't, but it does give you the opportunity to either A, go for like a big speedling flood, like you can do a speedling flood all in with this, or you can, you know, continue to mine gas, get a baneling nest, try and put on some very early pressure before the ling speed of Aristori would be done. But ultimately, more so than anything, it is a very safe opener with options. And there we can see Mapu, of course, showing us that, yes, he is still mining with 2 drones on gas, which does make it much more likely that we're probably going to see a baneling nest and probably going to see a decent level of commitment coming in from Reynor here. Aristori, not actually electing to take one of his drones off gas, which is a little bit notable and could end with him getting a faster baneling nest, which would... It may seem silly to talk about like individual seconds, but with Ling Bane, you know, if you have a baneling nest 3 seconds earlier, that could be the difference between the banelings getting into your mineral line and them getting, you know, connected on as they're trying to enter your natural.
I'm surprised both of these players are happy to play Ling Bane, though, when they do have some ping, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's so sketchy if you... These units move incredibly fast, especially when you're fighting on creep with speedlings and against banelings. You gotta be so on point with your control. You don't really usually practice with ping either, so it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you may practice the matchup a ton, but you're not really going to be practicing with everything being, like, 0.2 seconds delayed.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured we were going to see some quick roach warrants or something like that, but hey, Aristori wins that little engagement.
Yeah, Reynor pulling back one of the lings a little too early here. Here come the first banes. Oh, Aristori almost eating a massive baneling connection. Already a lot of damage, though, losing the queen. And that is a manual detonation. It's a good one. Reynor already finding a lot of momentum here. And he's detonated the last of his opponent's banelings. There is still one baneling here for Reynor. It will get detonated. Good job from Aristori. But still, I think Reynor's going to be content with this. Killing a queen, very good.
Yeah, that was like a bit of a skill check almost, right? Just making sure that Aristori can micro his units as well. And he didn't really get an overwhelming advantage, but as the defending player, usually you have to overmake defense, and Aristori should be going across the map right about right now. You really should get across ASAP, because until you go across the map, you can't really start droning very comfortably either. So he needs to get some value, and all of a sudden, it's a 8-worker advantage, or well, maybe a little less now, for Reynor, which really adds up so quickly over the course of a minute or two.
That it does. Oh, wow, that actually canceled the baneling. There's only one baneling on the field right now, and another one will pop out. Ah, okay, yeah, no, I think, well, no. Reynor's going to be able to build enough lings to be fine against the first wave, but more banelings coming on forward here. This is a little bit scary for Reynor.
Yeah.
Aristori, I think he should have committed to the mineral line right there. Instead, he is going to get cleaned up. And
that got very sketchy there for just a moment, though, because Reynor was certainly in a position where he could have gotten overwhelmed there, and he could have retargeted a couple of different things. Aristori, that is. He's just doubling down with the aggression at this point, probably smelling like that was his opportunity, because he actually did make a bunch of drones on the back of it as well. This is one of those scenarios where, in hindsight, maybe you should have made non-stop lings instead, giving Reynor a lot of respect. But so far, I mean, not the perfect defense that Reynor was hoping for, but still a solid one nonetheless. He's now adding on a third hatchery as well as a roach warren, so he is ready to make that transition towards a more stable unit in just a sec.
Yes, of course, roaches, while they may not be that much more powerful than the banelings, and they lack the ability to kill a bunch of units, they are so good against this committed ling bane aggression, because they're never going to be blown up by your opponent's banelings. You know, if there's enough banelings to blow up roaches, something went horribly wrong way before this particular instance, or your opponent's throwing away so many resources that it's fine anyways.
Absolutely. Oh, and that's what he was looking for this entire time. That is going to put the nail in the coffin as far as the aggression goes. And now suddenly Reynor is finding himself with a very significant advantage. Plus, he actually managed to kill a bunch of drones.
He did. He got 5 drones on the other side of the map, slipped in a couple of banelings. Oh, great job from Reynor here. And you talk about skill checks. The thing about ZVZ is the skill checks don't really have a ceiling.